we are supposed to begin our this online free master class, that is Docker for beginners. Okay, so here is the agenda for today's session. So let's understand first introduction, then getting started, and then hands-on experiences. Okay. So before beginning with the what is Docker and how it works, first let us understand why this concept was developed actually. So in the suppose you like let's discuss a problem first. Okay, so when you developed a application in like Ubuntu, okay, you can see the screen, right? Anyone?
Yes, I can
Yeah.
see.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. So here on the left corner, you can see there is a development piece that developers develop the application. Suppose your client is using the Windows machine. Okay. So obviously, whatever the application is developed in the Ubuntu system will not work on your Windows system, right? So on the deployment part, when you go to deploy the application which is developed in Ubuntu, then you must then you will say that you will say the client that we have developed application in Ubuntu and you should buy a Ubuntu machine or Ubuntu server to run this application. So every time this was increasing the cost, like you need to buy a different machine. For that you need to maintain a different OS and you need to hire some different the person to like who knows that operating system. So to avoid that, there is a concept called virtual machines came into existence. Okay, so you can see the screen now. So at the below end, it is infrastructure, that is physical machine. Okay, and the host operating system. So now the client machine is this Windows system. Okay, and here is the hypervisor. Now what this hypervisor is, now let's take an example where like in the BCA or MCA, when you wanted to run your Linux programs, what did you do? You just went and bought a new system to run the programs, or you used the virtual machines concept? You used the virtual machines concept, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so like many of us know what virtual machine concept is, but we were not know like here, this is exactly what it was. So you had a virtual machine software basically, okay, that will connect to your operating system and whichever guest OS you are deploying on that virtual machine. Let me see. Okay. So virtual machine software acts as interface between your host operating system, that is Windows, and whichever application you want. Like suppose say you want to install Ubuntu into your virtual machine, you want to install Fedora into your virtual machine, you can have. So as we discussed this problem before, it was having a Ubuntu operating system. So what I did is I'll just go and install a guest OS in the Ubuntu operating system. Sorry, guest OS, that is Ubuntu operating system, and the package is required for that, and the application will be deployed in that virtual machine on that OS. Suppose let's say another developer develop application, like here it is mentioned as if it is mentioned if it is Fedora, it is developed in Fedora, then also you want to deploy, then you can have two operating systems in the same virtual machine. So this is what the concept of virtual machines was. Okay. Now, every time you open a virtual machine, you need to boot the OS. So you people know how the trickier process of booting happens and how much time it takes. So uh, till like before the Dockers are invented, we used to have this virtual machines concept. Okay, now we are moving from virtualizations to containerizations. So what is containerization? We'll see in the later part. Okay, so let's understand the difference between the virtual machine and the containers. Okay, so virtual machines, as I have explained earlier, that is the host operating system, hypervisor, and then you will have. Hello.
Yes, Abhishek, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I thought someone spoke. Just a second. Okay. Okay. So, like you need to load the operating system again and again. So to avoid that step, okay.
Abhishek, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, now you are audible.
So, you had these different OSs, like that needs to be booted up and then run your application on that Windows machine. So, to avoid this loading of the OS, then containers came into existence. Like now, you can see there is an infrastructure that is physical machine, then operating system. Like suppose you can take here any operating system like Windows, Linux, Mac. Okay, on everywhere this Docker can be run. Okay, when you want to deploy an application, then you just need to have a Dockerized application. You just need to have this Docker engine present on your machine. Okay, then now what this Docker engine will do, here you can see we don't need to have a different OS here. Suppose you take any OS, it will load automatically in your containers with those packages. Okay, so let's move on. So let's see what is this Docker. So you can see
Abhishek,
yeah,
I have a one doubt.
yeah,
So in Docker, you are saying whatever the application, regardless of that particular platform, like Windows or Linux, whatever,
yeah.
it will run automatically without changing their path or home directory.
Correct. You don't need to load a path, like you don't need to worry about the path and all. Okay, your software itself is present in the container now. So when you run the container, it will create a different environment for you. I'm coming to that part in the later. So if you have,
Okay,
you can interrupt and ask.
sure. Thanks.
Yeah. So let us understand what this Docker is. Okay. So you can see this logo, Docker logo. It is as good as whale carrying the containers, right? So this is you can imagine a example like on the dockyard you can see such type of containers like ship and containers. So the concept is derived from there itself, like shipping the containers well in manner. Okay, like reducing the cost and all. Okay, so let's here there are three concepts. Like first is what is Docker image, basically what is Docker container and what is Docker registry. Okay, first we'll see about Docker image. So what the image is of, like, see, image is just a
Hello,
number of instructions. Okay,
Abhishek.
we'll discuss it with the example. Now you take if you have formatted your own machines, you will know what the Windows operating system
Hello.
image is. Hello?
Yeah, Abhishek.
Yeah.
I have one question.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, introduction to you told something client should have the Ubuntu machine if the application is developed in Windows or something, correct?
Yeah.
like how it will useful for like web applications? How Docker will be useful for web applications, because web applications are completely independent of like OS,
Yeah.
whichever you are using or client is using.
Yeah, but while development, okay, it is
Hmm.
not the same case. Suppose if you are using your, I'll take an example of Python Django application, and there are different packages that are used, okay, in the machine. Like suppose take an example, you use some matplotlib or any packages that comes with that Python packages you use. Okay, now you pass on the source code, okay, to the different developer who is
Okay.
using a Windows machine basically. And now
Hmm.
the problem is Windows you cannot install the same version of packages that you installed in the Ubuntu, right?
Hmm.
Now you will face that developer will face a problem uh,
Okay.
developing the things. So that time it comes to rescue us. So that also I'll demo you how it works in the later part, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Is
Yeah. Thanks.
like somewhat you understood what it is and all, how
Yes.
it
Yes. Like
works.
it's not only like client side we can use within a developer, like within like
Yeah,
in each developer also we can use it
yeah,
basically. Correct.
correct.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
So let's see what this Docker image. I told you about the Docker image. It's like instructions. It is a file with the instructions. Okay. I took an example of the Windows operating system. When you format your own system, you'll get to know what is ISO file. Anyone who has come across this ISO file earlier?
Yes, I am.
Guys, please answer question. Please respond.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. So uh, now this ISO file, basically when we boot the system, it creates an environment for us to run that operating system, right? So that is basically Docker image. You can consider it as a ISO file, and the Docker container you can consider it as a your environment for that particular OS. Okay, so now let us understand what this Docker registry is. So Docker registry is basically same like like it is like GitHub. Okay, you maintain the repositories over there. Okay, same way you can maintain your image, your already developed images, and you can push on this registry so that other developer or other team can just pull it and run it in then their particular machines. Okay, so so coming to the architecture part, how Docker works, like you can see a client over here, you can see a Docker host and the registry. So registry is what I just spoke about. It will consist of different images that you have pushed. So there are like here you can have your public image as well as private image, just like your GitHub repo is. Okay, you can have create a repository and you can push your images to that Docker hub. Okay, that is what registry is. Now you can see like when you want the client to run your application, they should have the Docker installed on their systems basically. So this is what client is. Yeah, and Docker host is now when you install the Docker on the machine, it consists of something like Docker daemon. Okay, when you issue the Docker commands, it will basically convert it into the REST APIs and it will give it to the Docker daemon, and Docker daemon will run manage these containers and images. Okay, when we do,
Abhishek,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
You are saying the client is having the one agent where the Docker build, Docker pull, and Docker run services are running in their machine.
Yeah, actually, client, when you install your Docker, then you are good to go with the Docker commands, and Docker can just pull out the images from registry to your client, you can pull out the images and you can run those images. Basically, you are running those containers on your client machine. Okay, and
Okay.
these whatever containers are running, it is shown in the Docker host part. Okay.
Hello, Abhishek.
Yeah.
I have one doubt.
Yeah.
Let's say you said container is kind of an environment which provides to run the images, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so can we assume that Docker is kind of OS which runs your
Correct.
project,
Correct. It
right?
can, yeah, correct. It can, like, we can consider that. So, like, any example you take. Suppose if you have the any file, like suppose you have MP3 file. Okay,
Uh-huh.
you need to play that file. You need to listen to that song. So you need to have an environment like that. You
Right.
need to have
Yeah.
a particular software, right, to
Okay.
execute that file. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
image is something like a file, and the software is the software which plays that file is your container. Okay,
Okay.
got
Okay.
this?
So can we say Docker is a multi-host provider?
Yeah, Docker provides yeah, correct, multi-host provider.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to see when we do hands-on in the later part. Okay, we are soon coming to that part. Okay, where I'll show how exactly it works and how we
Okay.
can create a multiple containers out of a single image.
Abhishek, one doubt
Yeah.
is you mentioned like whatever files are there, those are executed by the container, right? So regardless of any softwares, it will execute means embed the all the softwares are installing the container.
Yeah, correct. You're correct.
Means
Whatever,
there
like suppose
there might be the limits, right, for
what?
the software. There might be a limit, right? You can take like a 50 in-bed softwares are installed in the container.
No, no, no. There is no limit for software installation on the container. Like whatever packages you need. Suppose you have example.py file that needs to be run. Okay, in the container. So to run that example.py file, you have the 4 packages to be installed. So package 1, package 2, package 3, package 4. I'm giving you the example. Okay, you need
So
these 4
those
packages.
packages are installed by the developer or
No,
in-built it has in the container.
actually, when we come to the Docker file concept, okay, we will just give a Docker file, one thing, okay, when you run that Docker file, it will automatically install the softwares in the container for you, okay. If not, if not, the image copy snapshot basically, the image copy itself I can give you, then you can put the same image in your system and you can run that image. That comes with the installed packages.
Okay.
Okay.
So in the images also they include the in-built softwares.
Yeah, images, yeah, correct. So inbuilt softwares plus whatever source code you have, that image will consist of. Okay, image will have that source code and whatever packages are there, and when you run that, it will take images and create an environment in the containers, and container runs your application.
Okay.
Got it. So when we come to the practical slowly, when we are doing the hands-on, then you will get the clear idea and the clear picture of what the Docker image is basically and what Docker container is.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
One quick question, Abhishek.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Abhishek?
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Yeah. How does it how
Hello.
do different containers comply with the versioning of software?
So whatever software
Hello?
versions you mentioned earlier in the Docker image file, only that will get installed. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So each
Okay.
container is isolated from other container. So when you create a container that
Mhm.
has the different packages, so that will run separately. You don't need to worry about like dependencies, like each container are isolated, each packages are isolated. So when
Okay.
you mention the
So
version, yeah, hello,
let's take an example. Suppose a container runs kind of operating system, another runs Ubuntu kind of operating system.
okay,
So there's, as you previously mentioned, that some packages cannot be installed in vice versa, like which are available on Ubuntu cannot be installed in Windows, which are available for Windows cannot be installed to
no, no,
for
no, no.
installed for
You see,
Ubuntu, right?
Rahul, how it is, you know. So, base image we are going to use. Okay, here there is a concept called a base image. Okay, from that you deliver a software. So
Okay.
Windows. Okay, so now what you developed a software for Windows and you developed an image. You consider the entire software is being developed in the uh, Ubuntu system and you are deploying on the Windows machine. Okay,
Okay.
so there is a base
Uh
image
huh.
used for that software. So what these base images are, the base image will basically a operating system. On that operating system, packages are loaded. Okay, on that when you load the
Oh, okay,
packages,
okay, okay. So
got it right?
okay, so base image can act as its own environment.
Yeah, correct, correct. Small OS and the small environment.
Okay, okay,
Okay, just like your virtual
okay.
machines, but it is
Yeah.
somewhat different. There the entire loading of the
Okay,
virtual
got it.
like entire loading of the OS is needed. Here you don't have the entire loading of the OS. Okay,
Hmm.
okay.
Got it.
Later in part, when you have a doubt, you can ask. Well, like when we are doing practically, you can even ask that time. Okay, cool, good to go. We lost.
Yeah, sure. Continue, please.
ठीक है. So some these are the some benefits of using Docker. That is isolation is what I spoke earlier. Like entire packages and whatever versions are like those are isolated from each other. Like and the security because you don't have direct access to the containers. Okay, that I'll tell you how to access. So whoever is developed or whoever is in touch with that application only can access those containers. So rapid deployment. So why this rapid deployment I have mentioned over here is because just uh, quite some time before someone had asked me a question. I just lost his name. I guess Neeraj has asked me a question. Okay, how the software developers will work with it, like web development. If you take an example of a web development, okay, uh, now why rapid deployment is because you are developing a software, you know your requirements for that specific software, you know the environment, you create a local environment for the specific software. What if the other developer wants to just join you to develop the further code for it, then he will take that application and he will try to run in his system. Then due to the architecture, like Linux architecture, let's say, or 6432-bit, or like there are many reasons for it, your versions will not get installed. Like suppose you have different Ubuntu 16.04 version and different developer is using 18.04 version, then it will give some problem for the package installations. So that time you don't have to worry about installing the packages on that system too. You just need to have the Docker installed on that system, and when you run this Docker image, the code will your code also will run with the particular versions. Okay, it is extremely lightweight because it does not completely load the OS. First thing, okay, and you just have the image copy. You can just either you can pull a image out from the registry, or you can have the Docker file and then run create a image in your local system and then run the containers. You'll get this complete idea when we are doing the further part. Okay, simplicity and the faster already informed, like reduced development time and the cost saving. Cost saving is because like you don't have to manage multiple servers for each application that is running. You simply need to have only one host OS, and then you can go on and add up multiple operating like multiple application running on different OSs. Okay, so let's move to the
Abhishek,
yeah, yeah.
so for the Docker, is there any limitation of the application install?
No, 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 no. There is no any limitation for installing application and all. It's completely like suppose your Docker container needs 2 GB of like environment, it will provide you. Okay, but there is a limitation pushing that image to the Docker registry file. If you want to push that image to the Docker Hub, there is a limitation because you need to buy a private membership for that, or else your image will be public.
Okay,
Okay.
so this Docker is a paid or a free version?
No, Docker is completely free.
Okay.
Open source. Hello.
Yeah, I got the point. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay, so these many companies like PayPal, Shopify, Uber, Spotify, these many people use your Docker concept in their day-to-day development part. Now we'll begin with the hands-on, like how the installation works and all. So I have given the link. Okay, it should work. Okay. So here is the link for like here there is a link for my GitHub account, that is Docker commands I have mentioned over here, and you can anytime go and clone this source code and you can use it for the learning purpose. Okay, you can see the installation part is mentioned over here. If you are using the Windows machine, you go with the Windows machine. If you are using a Linux machine, you either go with the Docker installation guide for CentOS 7, or you can also, if you have the Ubuntu machine, you can just simply type installation steps for Ubuntu and go ahead with the those installation. So right now I have the Windows machine. So I'll tell you about this. When you click over here, you'll get to know what are its prerequisites. Okay. So prerequisites are like you need to minimum have a 4 GB of RAM and requires Microsoft Windows. Okay, and 64-bit basically, and you can download a executive file from here. Okay, you just need to download a this Docker file. Okay, uh, and then install it. So once you install the Docker, so what happens is you will see something like this. When you need to restart a system when you run the Docker. When you install the Docker, you need to restart the system. So here is what you can see, Docker desktop is running. So you should basically see this, then only your Docker is running and you are good to use the Docker commands. Okay. Uh, till here, everything looks cool.
Good for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Abhi.
Good. So let's begin with the hands-on. So to know like now Docker is been installed, and to know whether it is exactly giving the images or no and all, we are just okay. So now you can basically give this Docker version command to know your Docker is installed or no. You should see something like this, then your Docker is completely working. For this, I am using cmder. That is same like a command prompt or what you can say git bash. Okay, you can use this. I basically like this cmder command prompt. Okay, so you can use this. Now to know whether your Docker is working properly or no. Okay. for your, okay, I'll issue commands. These commands you don't need to worry about. You don't need to note it down. I have a repository over here. These commands, every command is mentioned over here. Okay, this link I'll provide you in the feedback forms. You can go ahead and go through this commands later part also. You can just see how it goes, and if you have any doubt, you can ask. Okay. Docker run hello world. So hello world, I'll tell you. So you can see unable to find the image hello world latest locally, and it is pulling the image from the Docker registry. So you can see here to generate this image, Docker took the following step. The Docker client contacted the Docker daemon. Okay, I told you about Docker daemon. Okay, when you issued the Docker command, it will go to the Docker daemon as an REST API. Okay, and Docker daemon pulled the hello world image from the Docker hub. See, first thing, the image you can have it locally also. Okay, and now the image is not present locally. You can see unable to find the image hello world latest locally. Is this font fine for all of you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Visible, right? Suppose if
Yeah.
you are using Google Meet, you can zoom in also. For that application, there is feature for you can zoom in and check it. Okay, if any of the commands are not visible for you. The Docker client. Okay, so first you need to have the image locally. If not, image is not present locally. Okay, I'll tell you what that locally means. Okay, then it will download from the Docker Hub repository. These are the public. So there are some public images like your operating systems, your services like nginx, Apache. Okay, these are some images that comes publicly on the Docker Hub. You can just pull and use it in your system. Okay, now hello world image is also been developed, and hello, it is basically to check whether this hello world image is getting downloaded, your Docker is getting working or no. Okay, now we have issued Docker run hello world command. So what this basically does is it looked for the image, it downloaded the image. Now from this image it will create a container. The Docker daemon created a new container from that image which runs the executable that produces the output you are currently reading. Okay, the Docker daemon streams that output to the Docker client which sent to your terminal. Okay, now I want to see these Docker images. Which are the Docker images are there in my current system? So you can just issue a command as Docker images. It will display you the now I have these many images. Okay, you forget about these images. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll just remove those images so that there should not be any. Mm, okay. Okay. Now you can see this hello world image. Okay. So this is present. Now the earlier I showed that it created a container also out of it. So we can see the containers like this Docker PS and then hyphen A because it will show you both running as well as exited containers. Okay. Now you can see hello world. Okay. And the status showed exited. Okay. Soon as the container started, it exited because it didn't had any process to run basically. Okay. So till now any doubt over here?
Now it's clear.
No.
Okay. 1 minute. Okay. So, like I said, okay, you will have some basic images. Suppose, like operating systems. I'll just pull a image, like I'll just run a command like Docker run Ubuntu. Okay, and press enter. Now you don't have this Ubuntu latest locally. You can see Ubuntu latest locally. You don't have it. So it is downloading from the Docker Hub. Let the download get over, then okay, downloaded new image for Ubuntu latest. Now I need to check the images that is downloaded Docker images. Okay, now you can see two images related to Docker are present. So why these two images? Can anyone guess why these two images? We already had a local image named with Ubuntu. Then why these two images?
Tag, tag
Hello?
is different.
Hello?
Tag is different.
Correct. So there are different tags. Okay. So there is a different tag basically. So what this tag is, so whatever image you give, whatever image you download, it will by default download you the latest version of the Ubuntu image. So if you want the specific version of the Ubuntu, you can give it as in the tag like Ubuntu 18.04 or 16.04. Like I'll try to here 16.04 to the okay. So unable to find the image Ubuntu 16.04 locally. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Has a question?
Nothing. I thought you lost.
No. Okay. So Ubuntu has now there are images related to Ubuntu with the three different tags, like basically three different versions. Okay. Now by default it will take a latest version when you only mention a Ubuntu. Now three times I downloaded the image. I gave the Docker run command. So when I gave the Docker run command, it will give the containers for this. So I'll just okay. Docker ps hyphen e. Okay. So you can see 16 it created a container out of 16.04 and it created a container out of Ubuntu, that is latest image. Okay, and it shows exited 2 minutes ago. Okay, why it shows exited now? Now, when we say Docker, okay, why it says exited is because Docker containers are not meant to run your, like, not meant to boot your operating systems. Those are meant to run your services inside your Docker container. Okay, so there is no service active on that Docker container presently, so it shows you the exited state. Now, when I mentioned you might be knowing about the web server that is Nginx. I just say download and run a container for my Nginx. Sorry. sorry. Okay, it downloaded the image. I would say everyone to attend this session till last, because like now you might feel like it's difficult, but certain things like when coming with the different examples, you might understand these concepts very well. So please attend this session till end.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure, Ramesh.
Okay. Now if I show you nginx container, okay, I issued a command docker ps-a that will show me a exited image containers as well as your running containers. So you can see over here nginx is running. Okay, the ports, and you can see 36 seconds ago it started, and it is up from 31 seconds. Okay, now that means the nginx web server is running inside this docker container now. Okay, this is what difference between running a whole operating system that doesn't has any processes. Dockers are meant only to run your processes inside a container. Okay, now Nginx will continue to have one process, that is a server. Okay, that means it will.
Sorry, Abhishek.
Yeah,
Interrupt. So only services are automatically running, and the operating system are forcefully running, right?
no,
Means if we want, then we can't.
no. What the concept is actually, this image I just pulled it and I used as a base image. So operating system will not run like services. It have a one process. It should have at least one process running inside the container. Then only the Docker container shows upstate. So when you say web server should be continuously running, then only you can see the application running, right? So
Yeah.
so if anything goes wrong with the web server or configuration goes wrong, then what it will do is it will interrupt that service, and then the Docker container is exited. Okay, that time it will show exited moment. Okay,
Okay.
and
Means
the
by default.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
My simple question is the services are running by defaultly whenever we run the command,
yeah,
like Docker runs, whatever the service name.
sure.
But when we download, the same command is run by the any operating system like Ubuntu, it will not run, right? Same like
Correct.
which you shown previously.
When you use the yeah, correct, you are correct. When you use the OS, then you need to manually give the services running inside the OS. You should
Yeah, forcefully,
give
right? I mean, whenever we required.
yeah. Now when you give this, suppose I say Docker run Ubuntu, okay, and I say sleep for 20 seconds, okay, and I check the Docker containers running. Okay, you can see this container is there, and it used this command sleep 20, and it is 5 seconds up. Now it shows in the up mode, because this is this particular OS has now one service running. Now you can see it exited after 20 seconds. Now when you check the status for the container, you can see it exited. Status, you can see it exited. Got it?
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah. Everyone, is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. Okay. Now here you can see exit and like up states. Okay, now basically when the container is exited, that means it doesn't has any process, and when the container is in the up mode, that means it is still running. Okay, the nginx is still running. Now, suppose I want to stop this particular nginx service for certain reason, then what I can do is I can just uh, issue a command docker rm, sorry, not rm, docker stop, and then either you can use this container id, okay, or you can use this container name. It gives you the container name which is top. Now when you check the status of all the containers, that will show exited. Now you can see the nginx container also shows in the exited mode. Okay, is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, for some reason, I don't want to keep too many containers in my system to just to avoid the space utilization in my system. To use the space properly in my system, I don't want to keep these containers anywhere. Like these are not in use. The exited containers. What you'll do for this? So I don't want to keep it. So you want to delete this, okay? So how you can delete the containers? Okay, you can issue a command docker rm and then the container id. Okay, now here now this process, like suppose you have 20 images and you want to remove all the images those are in the exit status, then how you'll do it? You cannot simply go and issue a command like this. I'll just say docker ps hyphen a, okay, grep exit okay. Now you can see here, I have deleted all the images, those are in the exit state. Okay. Here is the first command, okay, that displays you all the containers. Grep is basically to search the containers with the exit status, and awk print $1 is I want to delete the containers with respect to this container ID. So I have used print $1 over here, and x as docker rm is same command that we use to delete the docker containers. Okay, it deleted all the containers now. Docker ps hyphen a, if I check it, that now there are no containers running on my system. So if you see Docker images, there are Docker images present. Like there are 3 images of the Ubuntu and Nginx and the Hello World. Now we have total 5 images over here. Now let's say now you want to run a Docker container out of the same image. Okay. Now I'll use the Ubuntu system. Ubuntu. Now comes like now anyone's question can be cleared. Like someone asked me like how to run the Docker containers, like multiple how it runs and all. So when you say Docker run Ubuntu. So Ubuntu is the image name. Okay. So Docker run Ubuntu. It will create a container for me. Docker ps hyphen a. So it created one container. Now again you give Docker run Ubuntu. It will create another container. Okay. So this is how you use the same image and run multiple containers. Okay, so when you have two different applications, suppose say application a, application 1 and the application 2, then you don't have to worry about one application running on your system. You just can use like you can just run that image Okay, that will create a separate container and the application will run separately for that image. Okay. Anyone has a doubt over here till now? Is it clear?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Abhishek. Just a one doubt. As you executed the Ubuntu command, right? Docker run.
Yeah.
Means how many times we will execute that command? That many times it will have a different
Different
Docker
container.
command.
Correct. Different container with the different container ID.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Is this possible to achieve? Means if we execute the same Docker command, it may going to create using a single Docker ID and like that. Is it possible or
Yeah, yeah,
it
that
is
means
by
you are asking, like, suppose, see if my question, like, if what you are asking is correct or no. Suppose if you want to use the same container ID and you want to do certain things in that container ID, container basically. Okay,
yeah, yeah, right.
so you can
Yes.
just uh, go inside the Docker container and you can install certain applications for you. Okay, I'll tell
Okay.
you how to do that. But when you issue the Docker run command, it will definitely create a separate containers. If you don't want the separate containers, you can go
Yeah.
inside the container like this. Like suppose, okay, I'll come to that part. Okay,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
yeah. Mm, okay. Now, I'll delete. Now to avoid the confusion, I'll just delete the all containers. Okay, I'll make sure it doesn't has any running containers or exited containers. Here the same five images are present. Okay, now let's understand certain parameters that you pass on while running your Docker container. Okay, now now you want some interactive mode. Okay, suppose say a Docker run -it and then Ubuntu. Now, till now, what it happened? It went under execution part directly. Now, when you run this, okay, it now what this I means and what this T means. I is basically the interactive mode. That interactive means standard out input and output you can give to this particular Docker container, and the terminal is basically you can achieve a terminal inside the Docker container. That means now it is opening in the interactive mode. Okay, now you can see the file system for this is same like how Ubuntu has, because it is a Ubuntu image, and it will give by default file system for this particular container. Now if I go and check the container, you can see here these many containers are present. That means it created a container out of it. Okay, now when you want to exit, if you press control C, now you can see here uh, okay, now previously we discussed like Docker run Ubuntu, it gave me a exited state, right? I guess Nehal had asked me this question, like it give me a exited state, and when we gave the sleep command, okay, that time the process were allotted to it, and it gave 20 seconds of the 20 seconds time for that, and it got exited later on. But now here you can see when you check docker ps-a, now still it is in running mode of about a minute ago. Why? This is because now you have given in the interactive mode, and still the interactive mode is in running state. Suppose if you want to come out of this container, you can simply press control C. Okay, you will come out of it. And now when you check the Docker container status, okay, I guess I didn't generate another. Okay. By control C, we cannot come out of the container. By giving the command exit, we can come out of the container. So you can see one container is still running, which has interactive mode on, which we didn't exited properly. Okay, and one is exited properly, so it shows in the exit state. Okay. Now there is something called as detached mode. Okay, detached and daemon mode. Now what it will do, it will process your container on the background side. Okay, it won't show you on the front end. So how you can do achieve that is hyphen run docker run hyphen d and the ubuntu. It will give you one id that is basically it shows that it is running in the detached mode. Okay, previously what things happened when you run the docker run ubuntu only. Okay, it waited for process to run and then exited. Now it will not wait for the process to run, it will just exit for you, but it will run the docker container in the background task. Okay, that is called your detached mode. Everything clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you can see here are some container IDs. Okay, here are some container IDs. Now every time you run the image, it will create a different container container ID, and this is the container name. Okay, it will give you the different container name. Now when you want to have your own container name for the docker image that you are running, so how you will achieve that? Okay, first thing I'll just uh, uh, okay, so
I think first you need to stop that
yeah,
container and
correct,
then you
correct.
need to.
Yeah, correct. So before removing the container, you need to either stop it likewise, like you show command stop and then remove it, or you can simply say hyphen remove hyphen force. By forcefully, it will automatically stop and remove the container. Okay. Now to avoid all the confusions, I have removed all the containers. Now, so we will see how we can name the container. We can give how we can give our own container name. Okay, so you can simply put. Okay, I told you about the hyphen it or the daemon mode. Okay, and then name it like suppose say my container, and then your image name. Now it went into the detached mode, and then we will see whether the container name is assigned to it or no. Docker ps hyphen. Okay, you can see how we can name our container like this. This is providing a custom name for that container. Okay. Now, I want to tell you something about like few more parameters, but before getting there, like I want see now there is this publishing port I want to explain. So to explain that, I'll have to have a proper Docker file. Okay, which I have it already on my GitHub account. I'll just pull that and I'll demo you the further part how it is. Now here is my working code. I just copy and say okay. Now when I do ls, you can see this Docker commands is already been there. Now you can see I don't have okay. Apart from this, I don't have any image over here. Okay. When I go, when I see what is there in the Docker commands, I'll just okay. Okay. You can see something Docker file is there. Okay. This I'll explain you later. But as of now, I want to use this Docker file to build an image. Okay. I don't have image pushed in my Docker hub. I'll create an image using this Docker file. I'll explain this how it works. Okay. Docker. Sorry. So
Abhishek, you need to provide dot after build.
one second now. Dot after build. Sorry. I just wanted like to give name this. I didn't provide a name for this image. Okay, I said dot. I'll tell why the dot even exists. Okay, let it download for me. I'll just show you the contents of that Docker file. Okay, here are the contents for the Docker file. No, I'll open it here itself. Okay, you can see this Docker file over here. Okay, now it said from Ubuntu 18.04. That means it is first downloading me the base image. Okay, then maintainer anything you can give. Then it is installing so many applications, like it is providing the update for that operating system and then installing required packages and then coming to this again updating the architecture and then running this like I want to install a Python inside the image basically, and then copying the source code to the source code inside the container. This part I'll explain at the last because if I explain it now, you will tend to you will not follow it basically. Okay, so let's wait for this to get me an image. So don't confuse this with the image that I am running. Okay, I am just creating an image out of a Docker file. Okay, the Docker file I'll explain in the later part because that how it is well understood. So I'll just take a image locally and then run the image and show how it works. I'll explain you the different parameters. I'll explain you the Flask application running inside that container, how it is running, how you publish the ports, how you map the volumes from the host machine to the container, and that's how it goes. Like I'll explain it properly in the stepwise manner. By the time by the time we have a time like till the image gets generated, You can ask any questions if you have regarding this till now.
I am good, Abhishek.
Okay. Is okay, there is one question. An option. Yes, Devans. So, yes, we do have certain concept called as Kubernetes. There we can mention like we can remove the Docker application which are not in need. Also, as well as when we are in need, we can host the separate Docker. Uh, Docker container. When not in need, we can automatically remove it by using the Kubernetes. So Kubernetes, it is like this is not of mm, under the scope of today's session. Okay, it is something that we can discuss it later on, like in the next sessions, basically. Any questions you have, guys, or is only Snehal and Rahul are interested to learn?
No, Abhishek, I'm also got it.
Okay, cool. Okay. Now I have built an image with the name web app latest. Okay, and which is present in my local right now. Okay. So I'll tell you how this is Docker images. If you see, you can see the web app image is generated. Okay, that is generated using the Docker file, and this image we can use it to run our containers. Okay, this image basically has your Flask application running, a simple Flask application that has nothing, just a display of one page that is designed for example purpose. Okay, and using this I'll tell you how we need to map ports and all. Okay, now let's say I want to run this. Okay, I run in the daemon mode, and do not provide any ports over here. I just say web app. Okay, now if I at all want to check the containers, running containers, so you can see this is present. Web app 15 seconds ago, this is off. Okay, now how to check this web app running? So if I see the logs for so you can basically check the logs also of the Docker container. Okay, I give the container ID. Container ID or container name is okay. What it did is it is running a Flask web server. Okay, inside the container you can see, if I check the logs, you can see here it is running here, like running on this 5000 port. So but when I want to access this, okay, web application running, if you try to access it in the web browser like this, okay, definitely you will not find anything. This site can't be reached, it is showing. Why it is so? Can you guys Guess?
Because Docker is an independent.
What?
Sorry, Docker is a independent to the existing OS.
Correct, correct. Yeah, correct. So, so whatever application you are running, it is inside the Docker container. Okay. So first we should map, okay, those running ports to the outside world, like outside host operating system. Then only you can access that. Fine. Suppose now thing is, I'll just say, okay. Now I launch another container with the ports. Okay. Now it is without the ports. You will not see any ports over here mentioned. Okay. When you see this container. Now when you run in the daemon mode and with the port, I say 3000, 5000, and then web. Okay. So when I check docker ps-e, okay, now you can see this container doesn't have any ports and this container has the ports. Is it visible that 3000 and 5000? Now what this 3000 and 5000 is? Suppose if you check this docker command, okay, this 5000 is inside the container and 3000 is outside the container. That is means host machine port. That means you are mapping the 5000 port to the 3000 port. That you are publishing it. Okay. Now when you want to access the application, okay, now I'll check the IP config. Okay. Config. Okay, this is my IP. Now when you want to properly access the application, okay, now when I see over here, it will not either load you my application because 5000 port was inside the container and you have mapped it to the 3000 port. So my application is running fine properly over here. Got it? Hello?
Yeah, Abhishek.
Yeah.
Just like you didn't understand something how this mapping works and all.
It's a one command, right, which you have run.
Correct. It's one command that will go on. Okay. So now I have something like, see, now I have something running container. Okay. Something. Okay. I have this running container. Now I want to go inside this running container. Okay. I want to go inside this running container and check what are the files are available inside this. So how do I do that? So you need to mention this command like docker exec and then the container ID, say bash. You are inside the running container. Okay, why this application folder by default it is coming? I'll tell you when I explain the docker file. Okay, now when you do ls, you can see that app.py and the requirements.txt file is present in my app. Okay, I'll tell you how it works and why that I have given. First, before giving that, I'll tell you about the volumes part, how we publish the volumes to the host machine, and then we can go with the docker file. Did you understand how to go inside the docker container if you want to? Hello? Hello?
Abhishek,
Yeah. Okay. Now I have now on the screen you can see I am inside this docker container. Okay, and there is a file called app.py. I'll try to run this file, but will it run? First question.
Yes.
No,
Okay.
no, right?
Why no? If at all no.
Might be, might be that Python software is not installed.
No, it is installed. No, Snell. Like first, so only we are able to run. Basically, it is running the app.py file inside this. So why it will not run? Because 5000 port is already in use. Okay,
Okay.
I'll tell you how this software got installed inside this image. Okay, now
Yes. Abhi,
now
so we can change the file in container, or we have to change in the Docker, then we have to update in the container.
which one?
If I want to change that file,
Hmm.
app.py,
Uh,
okay,
uh.
so I can change directly in the container, or I have to change it the first in the Docker, then I
Now
have to update in the.
considering this image file, it is like you need to go here and update. But when you come on the volume part, like suppose say now you have the database, okay. Now whenever you come or containers get exited, it will stop. And when it stop, it will delete all the existing state of that container. That means it will delete all the data inside the container. Suppose you have the MySQL container running and you have the data inside it. Now when it stops, then it doesn't make any sense when it stops and the whole data gets vanished from there. So we need to prevent the data outside the in the host machine, right? So that is how the concept of volume came in. Like we need to persist the data outside also. Like how do we map ports like that? We can map even volume. Okay. So
Okay.
now you can see. Okay. Docker run -d. Okay. Volume C. Okay. Hmm. Docker ps -a. Okay. Here is that image. And to see that image, okay, I'll just I want to go inside that image. So Docker exec -it and then say container. So, okay. So why this message is because see now if you check the status as exited, okay, you don't have any process running inside it, so the container is exited. So when the container is exited or stopped, you cannot really go inside that container and do any alterations. Okay, first of all, you need to have that container running. To have that container running, what I will do is instead of running in the daemon mode, I'll just run. Okay, container name is there. Instead of running in the daemon mode, I run in the interactive mode and check if the containers are present. So this container is in the running state now. Okay. Now when you go inside your home directory, okay, you can see ls. I'll tell you how it is. Okay, now how you have mapped the volume is this home is inside the container like your port, and this is path inside your host machine. Okay, so you are mapping this path path to this path. Now you can see these many files are present. Okay, default, Docker sample, okay, public. You can see total 5 files are there. Now when I'll go, I'll just create something over here. Suppose folder I'll get sample folder. Okay. Now I should be seeing this folder here, sample folder. Got it? So this is how you map to whatever, like this solves your question. What's your name? Sorry. Who had asked me this question? Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So this particularly solves a question like now you can see 5 files. That means your user folder is mapped to the folder inside the Docker container. So even if you stop this container or the data gets deleted over here, that will present in your user folder. Suppose if you create a folder here, suppose if you create a file.py, okay, okay, touch is not available here. Make direct, cannot create direct office. Okay, my access is not there for that because that is my company's users account. So there is no right access for to create any folder there from outside the container because container has the different network now and the host machine has the different network. So it will not work to create a folder inside the container as of now. Okay, got it? No, how why it is not working and all.
Yeah, the mainly because of the permission issue, right?
Correct, correct. So if you create a folder here also, it will be visible in your users folder, like P users folder. Okay. But as far as the permission is concerned, I'm not able to write that folder, that particular C users folder. Okay. I'll come out of this. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So as far now we have covered interactive mode. Okay, that is -it and the daemon mode, that is detached mode, that is -d, why it works, and naming the container, mapping persistent value. Okay, so as to not lose any data, and publishing the port. Okay, and going inside your Docker container. Okay, this part is clear for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
One,
Is that
yeah.
is that available
Yes,
document
Abhishek.
for all the
Hello. One by one, please. Okay, Sneh,
sorry.
you go ahead.
Okay. So the document which you have shown the commands is available for all the users.
Document. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That is available. I'll share you the link.
Okay. Thanks.
Anyone? Maruti, you have any?
No, no, man. No. No. I'm good.
No question, Abhishek. Abhishek,
Yeah, 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 Maruti.
you have question in chat box. Please check.
Maruti, you are not audible. Or is it that I am not audible to you?
No, no, audible.
Okay. Yeah, Maruti, you can go ahead.
No, you have questions in chat box. You can check.
Question. Okay, sorry. Sorry, I didn't check it. Can we access web app directly using container IP instead of mapping port? Nagesh, yeah. So directly we cannot access this without mapping the port, cause now here the part of networking comes, network in the Docker. But this is not in the today's class that we are going to discuss some networks. There are certain networks in the Docker that is bridge and some like different network are there. We need to put it under one network. Then only we can be able to access the uh, containers using that IP. But using container IP is not a recommended method, because when you delete that container and when we have to access your application, okay, using that container IP, then it will not be there for you when you stop the container. So whenever you create a new container, it will just create a new IP for that container. Okay. So yeah, Nagesh, you can go on.
Yeah, I had a question because let's say you have a database service, there are multiple database servers running on the same port on a multiple containers. Then it won't be a feasible solution to
Yeah.
map.
To solve that problem, we can even use the container host names. Okay. So how to use this container host name is like we can define one Docker Compose file for that. Okay. So it comes under the advanced session that the Docker Compose file we need to maintain. We need to maintain certain. If you put all the database and the application in one network, one particular bridge network, okay, you can directly use the name of the container as the host name inside your application. Then this is how the application container and your database container will communicate.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, got it right?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll write one simple Docker. First, we'll understand the Docker file. We'll write very simple Docker file. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and understand the Docker file which I have for you. Okay, first let me clear all the containers. Okay. Okay, we'll see these many images are there now. Okay, now we will create one Docker file. Suppose I'll go in this directory. Okay, okay. This Docker file is created. I'll use Nano editor. Okay. From Ubuntu.
Abhishek, just
Yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
In which language the Docker file is to be written? Means
Docker file does not come with any extension. You need to maintain this naming convention, that is D capital and the Docker file likewise. Okay, it is not a particular language. Docker is built on the Go language basically.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And we can maintain more than one Docker file.
You can have more than one Docker file at the different location. And while running the Docker file and creating an image out of it, you just need to go to mention the path over there.
Yeah. Okay. Means in particular path we can execute that file.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now you can see this Docker file is present on my system, and I'm going to generate an image out of it. Okay. Now I am using the Ubuntu 18.04 base image, and the entry point I'll tell you what it is. Okay. And we'll go ahead. So Docker build -t is a tag for that particular image. Okay, so -t is the tag, and we are going to name it as sample image, and then dot. Why this dot is because our Docker file is present inside the current directory. If not, you can mention a path over here. Okay, then it will when you mention the dot, it will look for Docker build command will look for the Docker file in the current directory. The Docker file should be named exactly same as this. Okay, so when you say now, you should see this. Okay, sending a build context to Docker daemon. Okay, from Ubuntu 18.04. Okay, this is entry point, and it has built the image for us. Okay, when you run this image, Docker run sample image, and I say, okay, I'll say 20 or something. Okay, you can see this sleep command is issued. Okay, for the 20 seconds, and this container will stay for the next 20 seconds, and it will get exit. So previously what we did, Docker run Ubuntu sleep, and we mentioned this 30. Okay, we don't want to mention this again and again, like it doesn't look good, right? So entry point is what that, like it's a basically a command that will get executed when it enters that container first. So sleep will get executed. So you are providing the 20 parameter for that. So that will go inside your command. So when you go inside the command, okay, when you I'll show you how it works. Okay, let's just alter that Docker file. Okay, here is the command. I'll build another image with the sample image, new tag, and then okay, all looks good. Docker run sample image new. Okay, when you are not mentioning anything, okay, and when you run this, I'll just show you Docker ps -a. What it did is it will be there for the 10 seconds. Okay, I'll continuously show. Okay, see, you can see it was there for the 10 seconds, and then it got exited. Okay, if you mention like Docker image new, like say 30 seconds, okay, in the command it will automatically replace your 30 seconds, and it will run this image for container for 30 seconds. So let's wait for 30 seconds and then exit. Okay, you can see up for 24, up for 26. See, after the 30 seconds, this image got like this image got exited. You guys got how this works and what is entry point and what is command CMD.
Somewhat, Abhishek. Once we get have the answer, then we can understand
Yeah,
better.
yeah. With the while doing the hands-on, you'll get to know. Okay. So and we are coming on the Docker file. This was the basic Docker file that I showed as an example. When you have the Docker file, it is something like this. So if you see now, whenever we are using this Ubuntu 18.04 from, okay, you can read over here. This download base image Ubuntu 18.04. This will download image from the Docker Hub. If there is no image available in the local machine. Got it? No. So we were already having this Docker image, okay, with the Ubuntu 18.04 tag. So it didn't download again and again that image. Okay, it will skip the part and it will reduce the time required for downloading again and again. It will store in the cache part and it will serve the image from there. So this is how done. It was skipped. Okay, maintainer, the author name, whatever you can give. And after, as soon as you download the image, what are the things you need to install in that particular operating system are mentioned over here. Okay, this then installs, then updates the system, and then installs the Python to the Ubuntu 18.04 Docker based image will not have Python installed in it. Likewise, you have how OS will have the Python installed already in it. Likewise, you don't have it here. So you need to manually install Python in it. So now here you can see we have seen something like volumes. So volumes is a different concept. Okay, volumes is the persistent volume that is mapped in from your host machine to your container. But not likewise here. This copy is something different. Like you have the Flask web app here. This whole folder is being copied to the app while creating image itself. That means this source code is copied to the app folder inside the container while you are creating the image itself. So working directory. Okay, so first you need to go to working directory inside the container now. Navigate to the working directory inside the container. Okay, you are inside the container now. Now run this requirements file. Now when you see the requirements file, I have few requirements over here. Like to run this application, I have these packages. Got it? So I am installing it in the image itself. These packages I am installing it the image itself. So entry point is basically a command that my first command to run over there is Python, and to that the command that means whatever the parameter the standard input argument is the apps.py file. Suppose if you have different app2.py file and if you pass it from the command line like we give it to the slip 20, like slip 10 was replaced with slip 30, you can also give just run this web app image with the argument as app2.py file. But this app2.py file should be present in your apps folder inside the container. Any doubts? Guys, any doubts?
No.
Okay. Now this was the Docker file. Okay, and base image I already told you. First we use the base image. Okay, upon that base image we are installing few things over here. Okay, apart from this we are installing few things over here. Okay, that makes the complete image, and then you can just have this image like this. Locally you have this image. Okay, Now these also images are created using Docker file, and this also image is created using Docker file. That means this image is not available on your Docker Hub, because I need to push the image to the Docker Hub, then only you can have. So how to push this image to the Docker Hub? We can see it now. Okay. So first tell me, I'll tell you about the Docker Hub. Okay. Okay, this is how the Docker Hub login looks like. Okay, in the Explore part, you will have this Ubuntu images there. One second. Okay, these are the free images. Okay, Redis. You can have the Redis in the separate container. Okay, you can connect it to this container running with the Ubuntu. These are the base images, Postgres, MySQL. These are the basic images that are present already. Okay, now whatever image was developed here, is with my source code. Okay, and that will go to my developer. Okay, I cannot simply put it as a public repository on the Docker Hub and allow anyone to download it and use that image. Okay, I can put it under private, but that is paid part. Private is paid part. So I don't have to do anything much over here. So I'll just push it publicly and show you guys how it works. Okay. So this is how my Docker repository looks like. Okay, so I am going to create a new my web app image is already present on this. If you want, you can just go and download it. You will get the tar file or else you can just pull it. Okay, I'll create a new image, I'll push the image, I'll pull the image, and I'll show you how it exactly works. So this is how Docker Hub looks like. I have already logged in. I'll create a new image called as sample image new. Okay, this is my repository name. You can give anything. This is the description for learning purpose. Okay, this I'll make it as public because I don't want any private access. I don't want to create a private access to this. I'll just create a repository. So now my repository is there. Okay, so I can basically push the image like this. Okay, using this command. So how first thing using that command you can push, but first thing is that you need to have the login credentials. Okay, so you can simply log in like this. So my username I can put. Okay, once you create a username, then you can be able to log in like this. I have already my username. I have signed up to the Docker Hub, so I have it. Now it shows you the login succeeded message. That means you are good to push the image. Okay. Now I'll just say I'll just see the images and I want to push this image. Okay, sample image new. So what I'll do, Docker push, Docker push my username, sample image new. Don't forget to give this tag. Okay, here you can see the command for this is tag name we should give. So this is the tag name. Okay, so latest is my tag name for this image. So I'll just push it likewise. Push refers to repository sample. Okay, okay. First thing, my image is not tagged with this username, so I will tag it first. Docker tag my total tag will be this, and my old tag is this. I'm just renaming it, okay? Oh. Look, something is wrong.
Abhishek,
Yeah.
why username is required? Because you already logged in, right?
Even though I'm logged in, okay, this is how the command works, and the thing is, it will not see image name even if you give here. Okay, things are like even I had tried the way long back why it was not working and all. Although I tried it, things are like this is the command, and this image name should be in this proper syntax itself. Then only we can
Okay.
push the image. So this is how. Let me Okay, it is either ways. The command is something like this. I'm missing something.
You're trying to tag, right, Abhishek?
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, this one. Docker images. Okay, I have my tagged image over here, the new image. Okay, now I am good to go and push the image. Okay, uh, push refers to the repository. See, now here it shows Docker, Docker Hub, and this user, and this image is pushing. And once it is pushed, it will show some message, and we can go and check in the Docker Hub. Okay, so we'll go and check here. See, last push never it showed, and when I reload, see, the image is last push a few seconds ago, and here you can see the tags associated with that image. Suppose now I create an image with the different tag. Docker build tag. Okay, I'll say sometimes it is good to have the versions. So I'll say v1 tag. Build per se. Okay. Dot. Okay. Docker. So here is the image with the v1 tag. Okay. I will also push this image and show v1 tag. Now, this why we need to have the different tag is because certain developers, like suppose if I am working on version 1 of that image, and suppose someone else is working on the version 2 of that image, then we can simply have two versions of the same image. Okay, so this tag is necessary because inside v1 it might have that some packages installed with the version 0.0.1, and inside version 2 we can keep the package like 0.0 install the package with the version 0.0.2. Okay, so this is also pushed. Now we can see when we reload. Now we can see here latest version is also there and the v1 version is also there. So when you want to pull this image, okay, so suppose say docker pull, suppose if I give only v1, okay, then you can have that image inside your local image cache. Okay, image is up to date. Now, like image, whatever we had pushed, like same we pulled it back. Okay, so images was already there, so it will not give any error or something like that. It will just download the image for you, and you can go ahead and use that image and create your own container and start running your applications. Okay. So till now, everything is clear. Just 15-20 minutes more. I like to see. Till now, everything is clear.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
what we'll do is, okay, I have still 15-20 minutes more, then we are good to go. Okay. Now, what if suppose you don't want to push the image on the Docker Hub? Okay. Likewise, how you did earlier, you just had your whole project inside the pen drive and you copied it to your different machine and start running. But when you start running that, you will face the problem of installation again because environment cannot be uh, copied in the pen drive. You only have the source code with you and you need to create your own environment in the different machine. So what if you can just simply give this image in the .tar file and then load the image in the different machine and then execute it over there. So you can simply put it like this. So I have this Docker ps -e. Okay. So I'll make, okay. Now this is a container. So I'll just say Docker save output file name. So output file name I'll give it is as tar file dot tar. I'll give it like this only, and then you can give your container ID. That means container holds your current state. That means whatever packages are installed. Okay, what are things are there? Even if the source code is there inside this container, it will copy all the source code inside your .tar file. No such image. One second. I guess here it should be. Okay. First thing. Sorry, I was giving the container ID. I'll basically give this. Okay. So you can see tar file dot tar is being present, and this is the tar file you can copy in your pen drive or something, and you can pass it on the different developer so that he can just go and say docker load and the file name. Oh, okay. I am in different directory. Okay, it shows the loaded image. Okay, Docker images. You will find cause images were already present. Okay, and also I had not mentioned the tag over here. All the images with the different tags went into tar file dot tar, and when we loaded that, it loaded both the images with the different tag. Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, so this is what in the beginner session what we wanted to cover. Like these are the basic concepts of Docker. You can start using Docker always contact me if required, if any help is required regarding installation and the setup. Okay, you can always go out. You can always, you are free to contact me. Okay. So I just want to, just hold on. I just want to understand